Hello, good afternoon, everyone. And for those who are watching us from a different time zone, good morning or good evening. And the person I will interview today is still on her morning. And my name is Marilyn. I'm the CEO and founder of Customized Training Solutions Private Limited. And as we are Asia's most trusted training and business solutions provider, we strive to create programs that adds value and impact to leaders who wanted to stay relevant, to adapt to a next normal, as well as to ensure performance of a hybrid team. And today I will be introducing you to this very, very exciting, energetic, and amazing lady I've met probably prior to the pandemic through a common friend. So she will be introducing herself to you. So let's welcome Claire. Hi, Claire.
Hello there. Yes, good morning here from Dubai. How are you, Marilyn?
I'm doing great, and thank you so much for taking time to have um, to have this interview with us today. And of course, before we start, I would like to invite those who are watching us live, or even those who will watch us on a replay, to join us in this conversation. Ask your questions, put your comments, and give us your takeaways for this conversation. And to start with, please help us by introducing yourself within 2 to 3 minutes.
Sure. So, thank you very much for having me. And yes, we have met each other. Yes, we've met each other before the pandemic, and it was quite. Yes, it was anything to do with customer service, and I think at the time it was really interesting to see how organization have managed and looked at what was going on. So anyway, I'm just starting away to blub away. And I'm not even introduced myself. So I am Claire Boscq, and I'm the number one global guru on the customer experience. So the number one woman on the customer experience global guru list. And this has kind of been about 5 years now that I've been on the list. And I really very, very, very proud because it's been probably 15 years now that I've had my own business and very much looking and helping organizations to deliver amazing, exceptional customer experiences. So there's been a journey between where I had a mystery shopping company back in the days, and then it grew from the mystery shopping to more of the customer experience, the journey mapping, the understanding of our customers, what they need, what their expectations are, and very much looking after the employees and how do we treat our employees, how do we look after them, how do we give them the tools to deliver amazing customer experience. And about 8 months ago, I decided to go totally wild, and I've moved to Dubai. So from my little Jersey island in the British Isles, I've moved to Dubai to the big city. And being here for the last 8 months, I really wanted to focus on being a keynote speaker and really raising awareness for delivering a great customer experience, help leaders to look at programs and ideas and method on how you do that and how do we really look after our employees and our customers so we can have thriving businesses. Does that make sense?
Definitely. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I believe that will be so much better than me introducing you. But and again, like, that reminded me of like some of the things that we have done during the pandemic to help and to add value to some of the HR leaders in different countries, right? Especially in Asia, where we've actually organized a program around customer experience as an HR practitioner, as well as how can you actually continuously serve and delight your customers during the pandemic. I remember those programs that we've done. Recently, you've actually spoke in one of the projects I did with a utility company in the Philippines as
Yes, we
well.
did. We did.
Really
Yes.
amazing. Yeah. so much for that introduction. And I just wanted to say, oh, Bless is here. Thank you so much. She's saying hello to us. And she said that I love that that the customer experience, yes, and that it's very important. Thank you so much, and do join us in this conversation as I invite everyone to do so. And so I'd like to start my questions around leadership when by asking you a question on who are your influencers, and if you do have like a favorite leadership style that made you or lead you to where you are today and how you define leadership now, um, please let us know. Share your experience with us.
Sure. So I believe we are entering a new era, and every single one of us are leaders in our, whether it's our organization, whether it's at home, whether we're inspiring people around us. In every day of our jobs, we are all leaders of our own lives. And we are, I believe that, we are going through a new phase of higher consciousness where organization and leaders need to take total responsibility for their employees, their customers, and their environment. Um, we have so much, we've learned so much through the pandemic. We've gone through such a huge change over the last few years. We need to bring care into what we do. And as a as a leader myself, I've put a program together, and I believe this is totally how we all need to lead. And it's lead with a yin and manage with a yang. And that's what life is all about. We need to create harmony around us. We need to be able to balance things out and really bring some more of that feminine energy, bring some of that energy into our businesses, compassion. Leaders, we need to be really here for our people. And then on the same time, we need to make profit, right? We still have businesses to run. We still need to make profit, and we need to think things to get on and move and be flexible and be able to deliver that promise to our customers. So I think as a leader, that's the way I believe that we should all be leading with a yin and managing with a yang. That's kind of my motto.
Wow, thank you for sharing that with us. So if it's really about leading with a yang and managing with a yang. Did I yin and yang?
No, with the other way around. So you lead with a yin. So you're leading with care and compassion,
Mm-hmm,
and listening and being there and being present. And
mm-hmm,
you manage with a yang, which
mm-hmm.
then the yang energy is that masculine energy, is the doing, is the action, is the getting on and doing things. So you're bringing the two energies together so you can be a great leader.
Wow, that's amazing. That's actually like something that I have to remember. But yes, it's very true. And what I really love about what you've shared just now is not only that having that balance, like you've mentioned, leading with the yin and managing with the yang, right? But it's really like highlighting how important feminine energy is. And I've been hearing that a lot recently, especially during the pandemic, where we've realized we need that empathy, compassion, and that feminine energy. Not that again that we just do that or focus on that, but like what you've said, being able to manage that, right, to balance that in a way.
Yeah, yeah, and I think again we don't want to be mistaken. The feminine energy doesn't mean it's all about women and women doing the
Exactly.
work. The
Mhm.
feminine energy is our limbic brain, so our right brain. When our right brain kicks in, we connect on an emotional level. We feel, we're really connected with things. And it's that limbic brain, the why we do what we do, the really that compassionate time, and that's the energy that we bring. So whether we're a man or whether we're a woman, we need to bring some of that, that yin energy, which is the feminine energy, because we're so. And I myself, I mean, Marilyn, I am just so on that yang energy. So, I'm always doing. And then, at the end of the day, I crashed, and I crashed really badly because I didn't take care of myself. I didn't take time, to look after myself, because I was all the time on the go. And you see a lot of leaders in that position where they are all the time demanded and they
Mhm.
don't take time for themselves. And so we talk about put a mask in front of you before you help anyone else. And, we've heard all those things before, but when you're in that position, it's so difficult to do, because when do you really have the time to do that? But actually, if you don't take the time, if you don't book, time in your diary to look after yourself, if you're ill, if you're taken to hospital, if you're have a heart attack because you've been too much on the go all the time, and stress and anxiety picks up on you, you're never going to be able to help anybody. So it's really, really important that we are all taking care of ourselves, and we're really kind of putting that in the forefront. So we talk about that in well-being at work, we talk about that in being more self-compassionate, we talk about that. So it's raising the awareness of it, and now we know about it, but do we really do it?
Exactly. I really appreciate that you reminded us again of like how important balance is. And again, to be a leader, you really need to take care of yourself as well so you can take care of others, right? I remember that conversation I had with Michael, who was an IMD professor, and he was saying that generally leaders are vessels. So and that would also mean that, how can you give from a place of emptiness, right? So it's
Absolutely.
it's really important to have that balance of being able to create that energy, feminine energy. Again, it's not being a woman, or it's not a gender type of energy, but it's really more of like caring for the people that you work with, taking care of yourself while you're also taking care of, again, like what I just shared in the summary, which you mentioned earlier, that leaders need to be really here for their people, and also at the same time the need to make profit. I mean, we always like, I would say that the common thing that we always hear when it comes to leadership or when it comes to the corporate world, it's really like so much around making profit, 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 right? But at the same time, what we wanted to share in this message is really, let's have a balance of both because it's more sustainable that way, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go even further because, in a way, when we talk about balance, balance is always, you're always trying to do one and the other. You're always juggling. You're like on the bicycle and you're like, whoa. And actually, for leaders and for anybody, we need to create harmony around us. And
True.
harmony means you have peace. If one day you finish 2 hours before, it's okay. If you're taking some time off for yourself, it's good. If you're working until 10 o'clock at night because you haven't finished because you went to watch your kids doing their play, that's okay. And being able to create harmony around what we do, that's when it's even more magical, because things flow and actually you're okay with how things are going. So it's really thinking about how that energy is, and not feeling guilty because you have to go and get your children. No, that's okay. You can be a parent, and then you can be also a thriving CEO of an organization. And we need to be able to recognize that there's flexibility, and when we're passionate and driven and we want to do so well, we're trying to fit so much into our lives, right? That sometimes we do forget to kind of pause, to be present, to look at what we've achieved up to now, to really kind of give ourselves a bit of a pat in the back, and feel gratitude and feel rewarded and feel that everything that we do is worthwhile.
True. I really appreciate that reminder. I mean, I actually had this conversation when I had this short talk with HR, Philippine HR group. And one of the question they raised towards the end of the session is, are leaders allowed to actually take a vacation? And that what you've just said is actually the answer to that question. It's really okay for us to have a vacation. It's okay for us to take a rest. It's okay to do things that we love to do, right? And that's part of having that, again, balance and harmony that we can have, because at the end of the day, we're humans. We need to um, satisfy every aspects of our lives as well, right? And that's what well-being is, like what you mentioned. You don't only take care of your external customers, you or like your employees, your customers, but also you have to take care of yourself as well. And so
Mm-mm-mm.
that
Yeah.
leads me to my next question for you, which is, I believe this is one of the challenges, but from your experience as a corporate leader before and now working still with corporate leaders, what would you say would be the top three problems that they normally face?
The leaders or the organizations.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The leaders, as a single leaders, I think it's one of the probably the biggest thing is that they're quite lonely. It's quite a lonely position to be a leader because you've got kind of, you can't go and talk to anybody down there, and up there is the board of directors, and all they want is to have the figures. So it's a bit of a lonely place when you're at that position. So surrounding yourself with the right people, surrounding yourself with getting yourself around other leaders which have the same issues and have the same need to be able to talk to each other, and creating that kind of tribe around you, I think is very, very important at that leadership level. So that's kind of the loneliness is a very hard, it's very hard loneliness. I've just a pandemic arrived, and I lost all my business in 3 days. 12 years of my mystery shopping business was gone, um, and suddenly, I was determined. I've always worked hard. I'm always yang 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 energy, and then suddenly I crashed like a brick, and I just couldn't get up, and I couldn't, and I was so ashamed of myself, and I've even lost faith in myself, and I was like, how can I go so low? And actually, I started asking help and support around me, and this was just the most magical moment because all the people who are around you, they want to help you. You feel good when you help somebody else, so being able to let others help you as well, it's a really, really important part of the process of giving and receiving. Like you talk about the vessel earlier. It's such a beautiful, you're giving out but you'll receive as well, and being able to let your tribe and ask for help was a massive lesson for me, because I've always wanted I was almost ashamed to be asking for support or be asking for somebody to help me, and suddenly I would have not been able to get out of that hole that I got myself into if it wasn't for the support and help from all my friends and my family and the support network that I had when I was in Jersey. It was just tremendous. So again, realizing that you're not on your own, it's one of the biggest challenge I think for leaders, and being able to open up and ask for help is a big one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Second one, the other one I would say is also, we've talked about it in length, but that's self-compassion and looking after yourself, and really kind of taking care of yourself. So we're not going to talk about that again, but that's kind of the one of the biggest one to do. And then probably the third one, as a leader, one of their biggest challenges is it's it's leading this organization, and creating a culture within the organization where you can have care, trust, you can engage with people, you can really kind of that leadership of that culture, creating a culture of trust, engagement, and care. So I call it tech. Is probably the biggest things. It's okay, maybe if you've got 10 people to do something like that, but to when you have 10,000 employees that you need to bring together, that's such a massive challenge. So, create really having some very strong value, very having a very strong vision and mission, and being an inspiring leaders for others to kind of follow you. It's really important having values that you drive everything through, and really kind of bringing that together. I mean, there's some incredible. Leaders out there which have done tremendous work with their people and with their organization, turning them from bankruptcy to billionaires. And when you look at what they've done, what they've done is they've put their people in the middle of everything, the decision that they were making. And that's kind of very powerful to remember that we know without our people, we have no business. Without our customers, we have no business. So we need to put both of them in the middle of what we do.
Exactly, exactly. Thank you so much for sharing your insights on these top three problems. And through your identification, you also managed to answer some of the problems on how to address it, right? And as an entrepreneur myself, and I realize it's actually kind of the same with leaders from big organizations, right? The feeling of loneliness at the top, because sometimes some people don't dare to speak up or to give you feedback or correct you because you're at the top level already. That's why in my case, what I do actually is I join like mentorship programs, masterminds, and like, I mean, networking is one of my strengths. So that's why I'm grateful for that as well. Like having you and the rest of the speakers and other consultants I work with, that's a leverage for me. And then you also made mention around self compassion. This one, I still have to look. To work for this the compassion and the looking after myself, especially when you take care of a lot of people around in your life, right? Sometimes
Absolutely. Yeah,
you
you've got children,
get
you've got a
yourself.
family, you've got, everybody's they want a bit of you, right? Everybody wants a bit of you. But you can't give any of that if you're ill, and if you're in a hospital, and if you're depressed, and all those kind of things. And it's very difficult to be able to do that. But once you really start, it's one step at a time. And I think that's the thing as well. When you're anxious and stressed, and you're in that virtual circle, and you're like, how am I going to move on from that? How do I do it? And it's one little step at a time. Do one little things every day that's going to take you to the next level, whether it's you know being grateful for something small, or being grateful for something big, and helping somebody else out of nowhere, and a random act of kindness or anything like that will start making you feel that you're doing something right for yourself, and then you're helping others as well. So one step at a time, little step at a time every day.
True, true. That's a must for everyone, right? Especially for leaders who are already there at the top, where you really need to take care of yourself so you can take care of your team and your family as well. And last but not the least is creating that culture of trust. I mean, this is, I believe, one of the top challenges for, especially for big organizations. I would say creating that culture or right culture for their organization, right? And we've actually talked about it. I did some posts, and I was actually grateful that I had like a firsthand experience of having like a good culture when I went to Bangkok recently. Kun An actually generously invited me to their program around
Wow.
creating culture from in it's like it's impressive because they're a very localized company, and they have actually somehow like successfully integrated it in their organization, and I'm so impressed with what I've seen. I've toured around their office. I've actually seen their managing director and some of the other HR practitioners in different companies who are actually learning from them on how can you actually create the right culture for your organization. And they've learned that from Zappos. They've also mentioned that during the session, and it's good that they've been integrating like the systems and everything they do. I would say like they're breathing and leaving the culture throughout the departments, throughout the processes that they actually like do and incorporate in the organization, which is what companies has to do. And of course that leads me to my next question. Despite that we have already answered some of the problems or addressed some of the problems that leaders would normally face, what do you believe are the important leadership capabilities or skills that you must have in the next normal to continue to lead more effectively?
So listening is probably one of the biggest challenge for a leader, because you're so busy. How can I stop and listen? Right? But creating an environment which feels psychologically safe,
Mm-hmm.
creating an environment where your employees can talk freely and to raise some points without feeling that they're going to be bullied or pushed out or all that kind of things. So listening skill is probably one of the hardest skill to actually have. It's hard for a mother to listen to their children when they're whining and you just want to get on with things, right? But actually, just being able maybe just to take that 5 minutes and sit down and listen to what they have to say, and then they'll leave you alone, right? So I think listening skills is it's a big massive one, and we don't listen enough. We don't listen mindfully. Even when you were talking to me, I was kind of preparing my answer for the answering what I was going to say, and so when you really want to be listening, it's listening with your whole body. It's listening with your eyes, with your ears, with your body engaged. It's not answering the phone or looking at your, WhatsApp messages that are coming in. It's literally being here with a person and not trying to answer what they're going to say, and making them feel that you're genuinely caring for what they're saying. And that's kind of, again, it comes back. There's a figure that I use all the time. It's like 88% of the US workers go to work every morning and they don't think that the organization they work for care for them. That was PwC
Wow, that's
who
a
released
huge.
that figure. I mean, that is almost 9 out of 10 people who go to work every day and they don't think that the organization and the leaders that they work with care about them and what they do. I mean, wow, wow, wow. And then, there's no wonder why people are jumping from one job to the other, because they're trying to find this. They're trying to find that leader who's going to inspire them. They're going to try to find that organization who really kind of align with their own values, and they want to do something right and they want to do something, bigger than themselves. So yeah, it is quite a big topic really on listening, and being able to always look for opportunities. I mean, that's kind of a big thing as well. Being flexible, being able to know that yourself, you're capable of doing it, and you can find other ways and other people to help you. And really, congruence, I guess, is the key word in there as well. I mean, as a leader, you have to be congruent, right? You have to walk the talk and then talk the walk the talk. And you have to, be authentic. You have to really be congruent in your message, in the way you behave, in the way you share things and you talk about things. So congruence for leaders I think probably the biggest thing that you can be, or have it. It's that congruence within yourself, and then others will be inspired by you because you're really showing and doing and acting, the message that you're trying to put out there.
Thank you. Um, so again, what you were saying, the important skills and capabilities is being able to listen mindfully and being congruent as a leader in the organization. And obviously, we've already shared while you are sharing the problems earlier, you were also addressing how you actually you are also informing us on how can you actually address all those problems, right? And so again, like what we were sharing prior to this conversation, right? These things that you're sharing right now actually affects not only the environment within the organization, but also like how you can boost the employees confidence, how you can boost the profitability within the organization by addressing all this um, from experience, whether it's a customer or employee, and even the health, taking care of your team and the well-being of the team, right? So these all affects, or these are like integrated in the things that you have to do in the organization, right? And definitely has
Yeah.
effect on the culture, the profitability, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And, Marlene, during the pandemic, I created a method called Bishui. And Bishui really look at four areas of the business that any organization needs to master. And, when you look, we talked about the culture of trust, engagement, and care. This is kind of the inner energy of the business, so we need to kind of look after that. And then the piece that is missing at the moment is that outer energy. So, how do we create an environment where our employees and our customers feel safe, they feel good, they want to come in that environment? Because the physical environment will affect our state of being. So how we feel, how we think, and how we behave. So
Mm-hmm.
creating an outer energy, a physical supportive environment for us employees means that employees are going to feel good. They're being looked after. They got a culture who's going to be looking after them, and they generally cared about. They feel valued, and when they feel valued, they will deliver great customer experience. So our customers are going to be happy. They're going to come back. They're going to tell their friend and family. They'll tell the world about you. So those four components work together: the
Mm-hmm.
inner energy of the business, the outer energy of the business, our internal customers and our external customers. And once you've got those four pieces together, magic happen. Really, magic happen.
I love that. Like when you can create that magic, which leads me to my last question. If you have that magic wand that you can use, um, what will you do with it? I'm curious to know.
Oh, in the business, well, you just prosperous, right? You've got happy customers. It brings you prosperity, productivity. It brings you prosperity in the end. So, being able to turn your people and your place into prosperity, that's what we all want, right?
Thank
Increase
you.
profitability, increase happiness in the workplace. Our employees feel good, they feel valued, and business growth and prosperity. That's what we're all trying to achieve, right? And whether we're a small organization or a big organization, it's kind of what the benefit of being able to master those four elements in your business. It's a prosperous business in the end.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I believe even without the magic wand, right? You already you through the work that you do, the trainings, the keynote speaking and other work that you do, through that you are already like helping a lot of leaders and organization for them to address all these uh challenges as well, especially in the space of customer service and creating that holistic organization where they are able to manage the inner energy, outer energy of their business in order to take care of their internal and as well as their external customers, as you've mentioned earlier. Um,
It's not easy. It's not easy, and being a leader nowadays, there's so much demand, into it. But don't struggle on your own. That's the thing. There are so many kind of great people out there who can support, whether it's coaches, whether it's like you said, mastermind groups, whether it's just going to conferences and listening to me, for example, on stage, listening to other speakers who have done some research and bring something new to the table. And so it's really important that you continue developing yourself and always looking at ways to improve. And that's what leaders do. They're all continuously trying to improve and trying to see how they can, not just themselves, but how they can help the world at large. When you're looking after your employees, you're looking after your customers, your organization will thrive. If your organization thrive, your community is going to thrive. If your communities thrive, the world is going to thrive as a whole.
Wow, thank you. And we look forward to that, right? Like I believe every business would look forward to thrive in their business and to be able to, because that's again integrated, right? Like when you are actually like working on yourself, working on your team, you also work on your business. It's a ripple effect, if I may, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the reason why when they take care of each of every like inner outer energy, internal external customers, that will eventually like show up in every aspect of the business, every aspect of your life, and it's just again like magic. So thank you for reminding us of those and for all the insights that you've shared. And before we end this conversation, is there anything more that you'd like to leave our audience with, or any like parting message that you'd like to share?
I think, I mean, I've talked about, I touch on Bishuri, and one of the things that I talk about in Bishuri, it's my little Feng Shui principles, and I bring the Feng Shui into the business environment to really kind of help that flow. And so it's not about woo-ness. It's about realizing that everything around us is energy, right? So if we're able to boost that energy around, whether it's our inner energy or outer energy, then we'll be able to also do that to other people. So kind of always keep that in mind as well, to keep yourself energy, to keep yourself in good shape, in good place, and you kind of emanating that to others as well. So that's all I'll leave you with.
Wow, thank you for that very important message. I really love it. So, thank you so much, Claire, for your time. And thank you for those who are watching us live and later on a replay. I really appreciate this very magical and energetic conversation with you. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And do join us in this journey to create opportunities through several interventions because we know we can create a better world to live in, right? You've mentioned we've already entered this new era where like we're evolving and
We're all evolving.
we're starting to realize a lot of things that we might have missed out before, right? So remember that.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you. Remember that even the richest investors in this world would say that investing in yourself is the best investment you can ever make in your life. So, with that, we would like to leave you with this quote that if your actions create legacy that inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are an excellent leader. Thank you for being an excellent leader for us today, Claire. Thank you so much. And always, I
Thank you.
would say, thank you so much for those who join us. What's that? Gosh, I'm late. No worries, Rudine. You will still be able to watch the replay. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you again, Claire. And thank you, everyone. Have a good day and stay safe. Join us again next week.